Here we are. Why not you? Deep Wells. Yes. Assessing your emotions through biblical reflection. Now, how often do you actually do that? When you think about your emotions and when somebody actually, they either lie on you, they betray you, they, they, somebody hurts you intentionally, there's some pain associated with it. What do you do to, to assess, like, how am I going to navigate this? What am I going to use? And where am I at, like, on this emotional barometer that I know, like, if I don't do something that right now, something is liable to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we all could get there quick, fast, in a hurry, right? But you just think about that, like, what are you actually doing to get yourself in the place, and how do you know where you are during these times where you just need to put yourself, like, on a timeout, right? And just step back and be like, okay, I just need to turn around and calm down. No matter how you might might feel like you're being perceived during this time, because I know it is at this time right here, it's like you're really in a vulnerable place. You're really in a vulnerable place, and the last thing you want to do is sometimes just feel like, oh, I just cowered it out, or this person got the best of me. But in reality, you might be saving yourself and this other person just by not reacting, right? And so, just assessing your emotions through biblical reflection, I think, is so important, because I just think about everything that Jesus ended up having to go through. He was lied on, betrayed, beat, and he still had this temperament. And I know it's hard, because you're like, well, I'm not God, I'm not Jesus, type of thing. I know that, but we also have that same power that's within us to actually overcome a lot of these things if we allow ourselves to be in that place where we can actually allow God to work in us, and we just remove ourselves from it. It doesn't, I mean, it sounds easy, but it takes work, right? And that's why I love these scriptures where it says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. You just think about, here we are, understand how to assess your emotions through biblical reflection and just journaling. It's essential. And this is why we must pay attention to our emotions. Remember, this right here is for you. This is a downloadable PDF. So don't forget that. Download this puppy if you need to, and just start writing in it as you're listening, or as God is speaking to you. And so the question is, like, have you ever reacted emotionally and later thought, why? Why? Have you ever, like, just reacted emotionally and later thought, wow, that was a bit dramatic. I didn't have to react like that. I think I just went over the top for no reason. We all been there. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it happens, especially when you get caught off guard. It's like, and you just react. It's like you don't even have time to reflect or think about what happened. You just go. And so many of us actually go through this stuff in our life. And when we react emotionally without pausing to assess why we actually responded that way, I'm sure it actually happened. Probably happened for good reason, when you think about, like, okay, well, I've been in this situation before, and when I didn't respond, this is what happened. This was the outcome. But not all situations are different, right? And so here's just an example. Like, someone doesn't respond to your text message. You know how it is nowadays, especially with some of these younger folks. When you're so used to, like, just constantly communicating, and all of a sudden the communication stops during the text thread, and you're like, why this person? But the thing is, you just never know what happened to the other person on the other side. They might be at work, they might be at school, they might have had an emergency. But the fact that you don't know, all of a sudden you feel like, okay, I'm being ignored, I'm being disrespected, and you start questioning the whole friendship, right? Meanwhile, that person's over there taking a nap. But this is just a funny moment. But you just think about those things. And the truth, emotions aren't the problem. It's the real issue is when we don't examine them before we react. This is how we actually turn it up even more. And that's the last thing you want to do. That's why, like in Psalm 139:23, it says, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts." David understood that emotions are an indicator, not dictators. And I'd say another thing that's really powerful, if you really want to step your game up and do something amazing, write your own song. Write your own song. Next time you feel like you're in a situation where you just don't understand fully, and you feel like the world is against you, you're in this battle, this emotional battle, this turmoil that's going on, start writing your own personal psalm. Like, God, help me with this. Help me to overcome, because you know my heart and you know what I can take. You know what I can't take. Help me deflect this enemy, Satan's tactics. I mean, just be honest with yourself. And so when you assess your own emotions, you end up taking control of them before they take control of you. Right? And so why do we need to assess our emotions? Because ignoring them doesn't make them disappear, that's for sure. It makes them grow stronger. And when you ignore them, you just think about somebody who needs to get something off their chest but don't do it. And all of a sudden, they get triggered, and what happens? They end up erupting. And so here's 4 reasons why we examine our emotions and why it's crucial. Number 1, unexamined emotions create that unhealthy reaction. So if you're feeling insecure, you end up lashing out at someone instead of addressing the root issue. Here's a perfect example: Cain and Abel. Cain became jealous of Abel because God knew that Abel, first of all, he was giving his best to God. Cain, he wasn't. All of a sudden, he becomes jealous, and now he kills his brother. It wasn't even that serious. All he had to do was, especially God actually talked to him about this, but all he had to do was pivot. Think about what he was doing, but instead he just reacted impulsively, and it led to destruction. He ended up killing his brother. 2, emotions reveal what's really going on inside. You feel impatient and frustrated at work. Is it really work? Is it some stuff that's going on the home front? Maybe another relationship, maybe a friendship. Maybe you really don't want to be at work. Maybe you feel God calling you to do something else, right? Here's the truth: God will guard your heart and everything that flows from it. You just need to become self-aware of what's actually coming from your heart and jot that stuff down. Journal. Another thing, spiritual growth requires emotional awareness. If you never assess how your emotions grow, how can you actually become the person that God has created you to be? Like I shared in a previous video, Elijah, I just think this is like the perfect example, because he was just exhausted and discouraged and afraid after he had this victorious moment. God led him in this victory. And then now you have this woman Jezebel talking about, I'm about to get you. I'm about to get you. I'm about to bring something that I'm about to bring it to you. You about to experience what you actually dished out to these prophets. Instead of reflecting, what did he do? He ran, even though God had more work for him to do. And so when you don't pause and assess your emotions, what ends up happening? You might be running from God in the same way. And so if you're running from God's calling, how would you actually be able to go towards it? It's faith walk. God can use those emotions to transform you. So if you're feeling lonely, that can just be an opportunity to deepen your relationship with God just by, picking this up right here, picking this Bible up and having him speak to you. So instead of suppressing those emotions, invite God into them. And so here are just some steps right here to assess your emotions through that biblical reflection. Pause and identify. What am I feeling? What's triggering this? And then just go down these steps right here. You have to have that moment of silence, right? To ask and actually, and to actually feel and understand what's going on. And then just journal that stuff. Write down your answer, review it later. If something sticks out, maybe through this process, you're actually identifying a pattern that basically that appears and reveals itself just you writing things down. Step 2, examine and reflect. Why do I feel this way? I think these are the things when you really have to stand and look at yourself in the mirror, because it's gonna cause some type of emotion. It's gonna cause you to feel a certain way. But it's just part of the process that we actually have to take and do, that's necessary to actually get to a healthy place that we can actually be utilized and used by God. Because the last thing you want to do is try to do something for God in an unhealthy place mentally and physically. You'll never be able to have that peace, and you'll never be able to trust God the way you need to trust Him, because He's actually going to He's going to elevate you. But it's a process, and you just think about like any great athlete, right? There's some discipline involved in it, and you have to do some of the hard things to actually get to that place where you become victory, so you can start winning. You run through that tape, not in second place, but in first place. So what's underneath that emotion? Is that emotion pointing to the past, or is it a lie that you believe about yourself? Does it contradict what God already says about you? So ask God for that wisdom. Then another thing, align with God's truth. Find one verse that counteracts the negative emotion. And so here's an example. If you're feeling rejected, go to Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. If you're feeling overwhelmed, come to me, who are weary. So this is what you're going to do. We're wrapping this up. This week, journal at least 3 times about your emotions. And then pray daily. I'm trying to see if I don't have my journal right here with me. I think it's in my backpack, because I'll be taking it to work when I have to write. But I have like a thought or something. And then pray daily. Lord, search my heart. Show me what's really going on. And I guarantee if you're authentic and you really want to know what's going on, He's gonna show you some things. So just remember this: emotions are like waves. They come and go, but God's truth is a solid foundation. Absolutely. Be victorious, like this image right here, with the hand up, celebrating. All right, you all. I hope this blessed you. Remember to like and share, and remember also that this is a free PDF download for you. So write in it down, print it out and use it. Take it with you. All right, you all. You have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you soon. God bless. D Wells. Why not you? Crush that chaos. Let's go.